And here we are on Triple R, managing to catch up with Joby from El Bronx, Mariachi el Bronx. Greetings, Joby.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. And your good self?
I'm doing good,
Yeah? So, you're coming to play Saturday night down at the Forum in Melbourne as part of the Melbourne Arts Festival, which we're all pretty excited about. My first question to you is, what makes a hardcore punk band very good at what you do a left-hand turn and get stuck into some mariachi?
I wish I honestly had a good question for that. Goodness grief. It's just something that we're all kind of around all the time, and, it's a musical style that we really, really like. And there is no real rhyme or reason other than it's just something we love to do.
So mariachi is a big sound in LA?
Predominantly, yeah. I mean, there's so many different styles of it, but generally I would definitely say that is the mainstream music. I would say more people listen to that than they probably do, like, rock or rap or jazz or fusion or blues or whatever you want to call it.
Is that right? So there's no kind of I guess, big move or big push coming in with the whole digital cumbia movement that seems to have sprung up everywhere?
Nah, it's just most of the people that live in LA are actually Mexican.
Doesn't mean they don't like cumbia, man.
Nah, cumbia's good. There's a really great band from LA called Very Be Careful. That's a pretty dope cumbia band. There's another one called Pharaoh in the Dark. I like cumbia music,
I guess one of the things I really like about this album is that you do it with such bombacity, and it's really, really authentic. Like, is it just the stuff that you've picked up off the streets, or did you sit down and have a good hard look at it, or is it more the music that you've been absorbing?
I took lessons, actually, from YouTube. Since I'm always on the road or always on tour, I never have time to really do anything, and it actually gives me something to do. So I would like to tell you it was something romantic, like God came down and blessed me with a lightning bolt to play music, but it's actually not really cool at all.
You can tell us that. We'll believe you. It's not... And I kind of like that.
I got hit by a lightning bolt from the mariachi gods.
But I really like that idea. It's kind of a continuation of punk, and where it's that DIY ethic. It's like, hell yeah, I want to do some mariachi, so I'll take a couple of YouTube videos and let's see what we can bash out.
I think so. To us and to myself in particular, punk is more of an idea rather than it is a sound. I think that, it's, don't get me wrong, I love putting on my Les Paul and getting loud, but that doesn't make me a punk band.
True enough. So if mariachi is kind of like the dominant music sound that's hanging around LA at the moment, can you paint us a bit of a picture as to, what are some of the other music forms that are around and just what's happening music LA-wise? I mean, kind of New York, there's not a lot going down, but the way you kind of make LA sound, there's a lot of stuff going on live music-wise, yeah?
Yeah, there always has been and there always will be. It's an interesting town for music. There's definitely... I guess you would say a good following / scene for whatever kind of music you fancy. I remember years and years ago, probably 15 years ago, when I had my first little band, and we definitely opened up a lesbian metal night at a club called the Coconut Teaser on Sunset Boulevard, and it was pretty shocking that there was actually a scene for lesbian metal.
There you go.
Probably those groups don't exist today, but there's always people doing really interesting and really terrible stuff at the same time. I think Los Angeles will always be kind of a melting pot of musicians, looking to do something different or to express themselves in a different sort of way. It's just that kind of a town where, you can light yourself on fire on stage and nobody will care. But I think that there's elements that kind of, to be a band, I think you kind of have to be original. I think people have kind of seen it all in this place, and it kind of pushes people to they kind of try and reinvent the wheel as much as they can, and it's exciting, in every aspect of being in a band or being in music. There's downtown LA now is popping up with venues, these makeshift venues that will have one show and then the venue will never exist again. With large groups coming into play, and it's like this treasure hunt of trying to figure out what warehouse playing in, whereas 8 years ago, going downtown as a white person meant one of two things, both ending badly. And it's exciting. I think it's a fresh place for music. It always has been, and it always will be.
That's fantastic. I love the idea. I mean, it still happens in the electronic scene here as well, where, you'll get a text about a gig that's happening, and closer to the time of starting, you'll get the address, and then everybody turns up, the gig happens, everybody goes home.
Yeah. Never will happen again.
Yeah. And LA's broke, of course, so LA itself is trying to come up with new and interesting ideas of money raisers, yeah?
It's been a pretty hotly contested topic on the news as of late. There is one of the cities in town is a city called Bell, which is, I don't know if it's made the news over there, but kind of all over the place over here. The whole city council was actually arrested a couple weeks ago, for giving them, themselves paychecks of over $800,000 a year, paid vacations, I think totaling like 3 or 4 months out of the year. Like, it's just so corrupt. And, it's sad, that times are tough for everybody all over the world, and that the people in charge of relatively people's futures and their financial stability are taking advantage of taxpayers. And, I don't think there's anybody that's sad to see those people go to jail.
Absolutely not.
In America, there was just, people that there was such a fallout from people that had, bought homes and just couldn't pay their mortgages, and so the government issued sort of a refinancing of your home loan option, and which pissed the banks off. But I remember watching the news, and there was a woman who had gotten her home loan down from, I don't know, it was something minuscule, like 5% down to 4.5% or something, and it dropped her monthly payment almost $3,000.
Jeez.
I'm just like, what kind of deal did you sign to do that? But it was great, because it was the main story on the news. She was jumping up and down and crying, and she's like, I can buy food now, and I was like, wow, man. Pretty grim.
It is pretty grim. And how does the Latino community, how do they connect with what you're going on? How have you been embraced by them?
Extremely well, so far. It's just like anything you do that's creative, it's subjective. I'm sure there's people that hate us, people that like us, it kind of an inconsequential thing. When you do something that you enjoy, it's like, of course I hope people like us, but if they don't, it's still kind of irrelevant, because you're doing something that satisfies your soul any way, shape, or form, and that's the important thing, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And I think you're going to be satisfying a lot of souls on Saturday night down at the Forum in Melbourne. And I've got to say, you've done 4 Bronx albums, but this is the first, Mariachi el Bronx. Have you got other mariachi albums in store waiting to be released?
As a matter of fact, yes.
Excellent.
We go into the studio in November to start tracking the second Mariachi el Bronx record, and immediately after that we go right back into the studio to track the new Bronx record.
Have you thought about doing the whole punk meets mariachi? Have you thought about bringing the two music forms together? It's got to have crossed your mind.
I think it may have come up in a drunken conversation one evening, and then that's one of those things you wake up the next morning with what we like to call a shame over, and probably has never been resurrected since.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Thanks for your time, Joey. It's been great to catch up with you for a few minutes, and we're all waiting in Melbourne to see you guys perform. Yeah,
we're super excited to come down, man. It's definitely our pleasure. Every chance we get to come to Australia is met with a joyous, raucous